Hi everyone, it's Will. Now today's video is about having difficult conversations. And this is something that Gen Z has been labeled as being bad at. And I don't think that every young adult is bad at it, but I do think that it's an important area to address. Now before we go any further, quick note, as someone who is 24 years old, I think one of the biggest challenges for a lot of people in this stage of life is trying to navigate everything on their own, and having people around you who push you to stay consistent, think bigger, and continue growing can make a huge difference, especially during periods of uncertainty or transition. And that is a big reason why communities like our mentorship school community can be so valuable. So if you're looking for more accountability, support, and a group focused on career growth, relationships, and personal development, you can check it out in my bio. Now back to the topic. I think one of the roadblocks that make it natural to avoid difficult conversations today is the amount of different types of communication platforms that exist. So there's email, there's text message, there's Slack, there's Zoom, there's Teams, there's phone calls, there's all these different platforms. And with the wide range of platforms, it makes it easier to choose the wrong form of communication for the tone of the situation. When someone needs to have a difficult conversation with their boss that might be uncomfortable for them, they could easily resort to emailing or text rather than speaking in person. Now, whereas from, what I'm hearing from 50 years ago, there weren't as many communication tools. So if you needed to have a difficult conversation, then you needed to speak face to face or have a phone call with that person. Now more than ever, we need to be asking ourselves, whenever an uncomfortable conversation needs to be had, should this be handled over email, phone call, face to face, or in person, or any other types of communication that exist out there? And I think despite the negative stereotype towards Gen Z, it presents a great opportunity, because the more negative stereotypes that we see come up against the younger generation, the more opportunities there are to stand out. And if you need to discuss with someone your thoughts around how they handled a conversation poorly, and you're the type of person who decides to speak with that person face to face, people will start to notice that you're the young adult who's doing things differently than other people who might resort to texting or emailing about having a difficult conversation. Now, I know this isn't particularly related to difficult conversations, but it is in terms of modes of communication. My dad is big on handwritten thank you notes. And of course, emails can definitely be effective tools to thank another person. But if you are a young adult who takes the time to write handwritten thank you notes instead of emailing or texting someone thank you, people will start looking at you and saying, oh, they're different than the other young adults that I know out there. Now, I know, again, it's not necessarily the same arena as difficult conversations, but it does fall into a similar category. But again, when we look at handling difficult conversations, if we can ask ourselves, what form of communication should we be using to match the tone of the situation and follow through on that, we will come out the other side standing out from the crowd of young adults who might not be doing that. So I know today was a quick episode, but as mentioned earlier, your 20s can feel very exciting, confusing, overwhelming, and uncertain all at the same time. And trying to navigate everything alone can make it even harder. But if you're looking for more accountability, more support, and a group of people focused on growing in areas like career, relationships, and personal development, check out the mentorship school community built around the Kindling program in the description below, as well as in my bio. Thanks again for watching, everyone, and I will see you next time.